I'd like to start by inviting Trey Rabon from AT&T to come to the stage. Trey's the president of AT&T North Carolina. He is the main liaison between the company and the municipal government, working in regulation, in policy, in technology, in all the things that have to line up to provide great services to all the citizens of North Carolina. So let's give a warm welcome to Trey.
I'm honored to represent AT&T here in our communities. The way we work organizationally, I'm the face of AT&T within the state of North Carolina. But more importantly, I'm the face of North Carolina to our company. And so when we advocate for investment in next generation technologies, we advocate for partnerships. It's terrific to see this type of collaboration come together. It gives me a very strong message that I can carry back to my company and say, we need this investment in the triangle, and we need this investment because all the reasons that you guys have heard this morning. Speaking of this morning, haven't we had a terrific conference? We have learned so much from so many people. I'm excited to be here on the stage. I'm excited about this afternoon. On behalf of the more than 5,000 AT&T employees who call North Carolina home, thank you for being here, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve as a sponsor of this summit. We appreciate the opportunity to engage with you on the topic of smart cities and the vital role that it plays in our future. As the afternoon goes forward, we're going to learn a lot more from so many different experts. I'm going to bring a perspective from AT&T and what we're trying to do in the smart city space, what we're doing to help move the ball forward, if you will, in North Carolina. Smart is a good thing, but smart cities is like the term champion. Champion of what? What does it mean? What do we have to do to get there? First, let's talk about a smart city and what it means in the context of AT&T's point of view. We see a smart city as people-centered communities. They inspire us to use technology to put people first. Sensors, networks, data analytics, and visualization. These are all cutting-edge 21st century tools. But those tools must serve us, not the other way around. In a smart city, technology enables citizens and leaders to achieve the goal of building a city that truly serves the needs and reflects the values of the entire community, all parts of a community. In an era of connected technologies, our cities and towns have the potential to be built to respond to our needs and to smooth the path as we lead our lives. That means we have to reanalyze what is and reimagine what could be. And that's part of what this summit is all about. But what exactly makes a smart city smart? Essentially, smart cities deploy Internet of Things solutions to large-scale problems that we face each and every day, problems that we face for a long time. Originally, the Internet connected people to information, connected people to data. Then it connected people to other people, anywhere you were, anytime you wanted that connection. The Internet of Things, IoT if you will, is the next evolution. Simply put, IoT solutions connect devices and technologies that were never connected before. And in doing so, they enable communications between those devices to benefit end users. Consider the scale, consider the scope of the Internet of Things. The global IT research firm International Data Corporation predicts that by 2025, more than 80 billion devices will be connected to networks globally. Think about that for a moment. That's more than 10 devices for every person on the earth today. And the total number of connected IoT devices such as cars, meters, wearables, and other consumer electronics are projected to surpass mobile phones this year. Through increased connectivity and machine-to-machine communications, cities can address system-wide issues with system-wide solutions. But these solutions are more than specific products or improved municipal services. The technologies driving them facilitate a new and more beneficial interaction between the citizens and our environment. Consider some examples. If no vehicle or pedestrian is present on a sidewalk or a roadway, why do we need streetlights on? Automatically dimming the lights when not needed can save power, it can reduce light pollution, while continuing to keep neighborhoods safe and drivers safe. Smart lighting systems are being rolled out around the country and around the world. For example, in San Diego, the city expects to save an estimated $1.9 million annually through the installation of these lights. Across the U.S., the potential savings from this approach is estimated to be more than $1 billion per year. There are benefits in water systems too. A typical water pipe leak wastes almost 400,000 gallons of water per year. Using connected sensors and acoustic technology to monitor water pressure, temperature, and leaks will help communities make more informed decisions, extend the life of their systems, save money, and conserve water. Consider also the arena of first responders and emergency services. One potential challenge faced by people living with disabilities in our communities is the inability to communicate with emergency responders during critical moments when communication matters the most. This is particularly problematic for those with speech, hearing, or visual conditions. Video technologies that allow EMS interpretation or wearables that automatically transmit health data to EMS providers could greatly increase the efficiency for EMS in these communities, helping to save lives. Or imagine if firemen can see the layout of a burning building projected as a heads-up display in their helmets. It could truly be life-saving, both for people in the building and for the firefighters themselves. These are typically the types of applications that 5G enable. And that brings me to the work required to become a smart city and the technology that's needed. 5G is the next generation of wireless technology. It's the fifth generation evolution, if you will, in our wireless networks. AT&T began preparing for it a couple years ago, and we actually started deploying it this year. The Triangle is one of the areas in North Carolina in which we're actively deploying 5G technology. 5G offers significant improvements over current technology, both in terms of capacity and latency. And both of those are very important. Capacity is important because of the amount of data which connected devices deliver in a smart city's environment. Latency is the amount of time that passes between when you tell your technology to do something and when it actually does it. This is important given the exploding demand for video that we're seeing across our networks, and I'm sure our peers in industry are seeing the same thing. Yeah, we expect video data to comprise 80% of global mobile data traffic by 2021. That's just 2 years from now. Currently, we're seeing latency measured in the very low single-digit milliseconds. A millisecond is a thousandth of a second, about the time a baseball is in contact with a bat that's hitting it. From a consumer's perspective, latency impacts things like the time between pressing play and when a video stream starts, or from the time you press return and a web page loads. But from a smart city's perspective, ultra-fast 5G means self-driving cars will be able to convoy or platoon in groups. This increases road vehicle capacity while providing substantial energy savings. We all understand today's safe driving distance between cars, even if we don't follow that from time to time. In the scenario of a smart city, you'll reduce substantial drag by convoying cars together. If you connect them via 5G, they're able to sense how close they are to another car, the optimal distance, if you will. NASCAR calls that drafting. And it can reduce the airflow by up to 60%, resulting in a 25% fuel savings. And if autonomous cars are supported by smart traffic management systems, congestion could decrease and deliver additional productivity and quality of life improvements to city citizens. A key part of this 5G future is increasing the capacity of the existing wireless network. We just can't build more macro cell towers and expect that to solve the issue as far as capacity on our networks. Freestanding towers are great in suburban, more rural environments. But when you're in the city center, it's very challenging to deploy a freestanding tower. So what do? We deploy small cell technology. The small cell brings our network closer to the end customer and increases the capacity while providing a better customer experience. Small cells are unobtrusive mini cell antennas that attach to the tops or the sides of buildings or on light or street light poles. They add coverage and capacity where it's needed today, but they also lay the foundation for the future. 5G is expected to be the building block for greater innovation. Wireless networks empower connected cities and open the door for innovators and investors to make the U.S. a leader in the digital age. The Accenture Consulting Group has projected that deploying 5G will help create 2.2 million jobs and approximately $420 billion in annual gross domestic product across the country. I realize it's difficult to imagine the impact that this could have on our communities. So in closing, let me offer a way to visualize the impact which 5G and smart cities technologies can have on our communities. The next time you're in Wilmington, let me encourage you to check out the Wilmington Railroad Museum. There, in addition to the vintage equipment and the museum displays, you'll find an enormous model railroad layout with 1,200 feet of track. It represents nearly 20 scale miles. The layout is phenomenally detailed and presents Wilmington and other North Carolina cities as they appeared in the early 1950s. It's a lovingly created snapshot of a time before aircraft technology, and the infrastructure of interstate highways forever changed how people connect with each other, how we live our lives, and how communities grew. With 5G, small cells, and smart city solutions, we are today on the brink of another revolutionary tipping point that will make cities cleaner, safer, stronger, and the lives better for our citizens. At AT&T, we want to help bring that future to North Carolina. That's why we're here today. Thank you for being here, and enjoy your lunch.
All right, that's super exciting. We've already heard about first in flight, first in drones. We're hearing about rail. I think Hyperloop was here a couple of days ago. So all this technology, maybe this is also the smart transportation hub of the country. Before I continue with our next speaker, I want to give a quick shout out to some folks that aren't always appreciated. This is a fantastic event. A lot of times we forget there's an awful lot that happens behind the scenes. And maybe we could give a quick round of applause for the IT staff, for food service, for all the folks that make this a wonderful event. All right, so with that, we are predominantly at a technology conference, and I'm excited to bring forward our next speaker who has incredible depth of experience and leadership across the technology sector with posts at a number of large companies, currently at Spectrum, which is part of Charter Communications. Patty Zullo leads the Smart City Solutions efforts for the company now and brings over 2 decades of experience to the stage. Let's welcome Patty to the stage, please. Yes, and that green one is forward.
Okay, great. Thank you all. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you today. So I'm going to take a little different approach. I'm going to start my presentation with a quiz. Everybody likes quizzes, right? So let's test your connected community knowledge. Who was the last U.S. city to be named Intelligent Community of the Year, and when was it? Anybody? Oh, come on. Columbus, Ohio, 2015. How can we forget all of the press that Columbus got on its intelligent transportation, that huge, huge grant they got from the DOT. The one before that was LaGrange, New York, and Riverside, California. So really what we want to talk about is who wants to be next and how to get there. So let's first talk about what a connected community is and what it really means to you and your cities. You know, you hear a lot about connected communities, you hear a lot about smart cities. What does that really mean? How can you as city leaders, how can you embrace that? How can you bring some of this technology that my predecessor talked about here, as well as some other technologies that are available to make you smart? So really, a community that really integrates all types of intelligent communities, including the infrastructure, which is really the network, to improve social, economic, and environmental well-being of those who live, work, and play within it. You know, one of the challenges that every single one of you has is that your cities and your constituencies are unique. You have different requirements, you have different initiatives, there are different use cases, there are different things that are going on in your community. So really one of the things that you need to embrace, one of the things that Smart Cities helps you do, is embrace some of these technologies to be unique. And why do you want to be unique? And what we're finding today is cities that are coming to us and asking us to help them with smart cities, it's because they want to be better than the next neighborhood. They want to drive economic development into their city as opposed to the city next door. They want that tax base. They want those businesses to set up shop. They want to drive people to their downtown so their restaurants and their businesses get additional revenue. If you're going to drive it into your town, that means the town next to you is not getting that, and really that's what we're hearing from our city leaders right now, is they want to be different, they want to be competitive, and they want to drive more people into their city. So, you know, we hear a lot about what a connected community is and what a smart city is. Really, the intersection of smart cities and smart and connected communities is really the quality of life. And so you work to achieve a vision for your city, but really what a smart city delivers to you is really intelligent capabilities that improves the quality of life for those people who live, work, and play. So, why do you as city leaders need to make that commitment? You know, there are so many use cases today that are available with smart cities. Public safety, you know, situational awareness, being able to send the right resources to the right incident in the right, using the most efficient way of getting there, really important. You know, public safety goes way beyond just talking about video surveillance. You know, there's lots and lots of noise today and articles in the news about video surveillance and facial recognition. Public safety goes way beyond that, whether it be the FirstNet technology that AT&T was just talking about, being able to make sure that you can communicate in a disaster or some sort of a crisis, or whether you can actually get access to really where you need to be in the quickest time. Transportation, I haven't been, I live in California, so of course transportation's a huge issue for us. You know, it can take me 30, 45 minutes just to go 5 miles sometimes. But I haven't heard anywhere in the country where transportation isn't an issue. Everybody wants to make improvements, and one of the best ways to make improvements is by having sensors to be able to help drive efficiencies. If you could trim even 15 minutes off of somebody's commute, you're making a huge difference for them. So transportation is a huge opportunity. Decision making from the city's perspective. You know, when I go and I talk to cities and I try to understand what the initiatives are, and every city's initiatives are unique. One thing that I hear all the time is we have so much data. We have historical data, we're collecting data today, we're getting data from parking tickets, we're getting data from permitting system. How do I use that data? I need to import that data into a big data lake and put it on a single pane of glass. Let me do some what-if analysis. Let me do some predictive analytics. Let me do something with the data that I have to make sense of it, to allow me to make efficiencies and drive real-time improvements for my citizens in my city. That's what decision-making, data-driven economics can do for you. Environment, everybody wants to be able to save, greenhouse gases, so how can I help you do that? And then, of course, economic development, a huge, huge driver every time we talk to cities, being able to differentiate yourself from the city next door. Now, it's not all wine and roses when you're doing smart city development. There are some challenges that cities have to embrace. Some of the cities that I'm talking to that have been the most successful in driving some of their smart city initiatives are those cities that have actually taken the step of assigning someone that's role is 100% specific just to smart cities. If you're running a city and you're expecting your city manager in his free time to be able to drive smart technologies, you probably will have not all that much success. So we're finding more and more cities either bringing in someone into the city that is in charge of innovation or smart city or futuristic technologies, or looking for like a PPP, a public-private partnership, where it's a privately held organization that can span all of the departments in the city and can even wiggle it outside of some of the city restrictions that a city leader or a city employee may have in order to get some of these technologies done. It allows them to be a little bit more creative. But there's rising costs. Everybody's got that. And so right now, a lot more public-private partnerships from organizations like Spectrum. We're coming to cities. We're saying, let us help you defray some of those costs. Let us implement some technology in your city. And then once we prove that the technology works and it's adding value to your city, then we can figure out how we can help you put it in make it a budget item. First and last mile, it doesn't necessarily help if you can get people into your city if you can't tell them how to park once they get there. So getting people into your city is great, but providing them real-time options within seconds of them arriving in order for them to be able to park, whether it be on-street parking, a parking garage, a parking lot, in a venue, wherever you're sending them, you have to be able to give them these efficiencies. That's what's going to drive people back again and again. I live in California. I used to live in Northern California. The largest city next to me was San Jose, California. I can almost guarantee there's probably nobody from San Jose here, so I can talk about them. And I never went to the city, even though it was there was so much to do, because I knew I could never, ever, ever find parking. So I would just rather not go. There were other cities for me to go to in order to take advantage of some of those opportunities. If I was able to know that I could find available parking, didn't even have to be free, but just available parking so I wouldn't have to circle the block, I definitely would have gone. And because of the acceleration of digital right now, more and more of your citizens are coming to you and saying, hey, there's technology out there that you city leaders, need to be able to use. So your citizens are pushing you to have open data portals, to be able to interact with your city when they want to be able to do it, not necessarily during your open hours. They want to be able to get data from that. They want to be able to understand and get more involved with your city without necessarily from standing in line at City Hall. So the vision to become a connected community is out there. There's lots of things that you can do. The technology actually is out there. Everything from smart parking to IoT video technology to digital signage to improving city services. The availability and the connectivity is there. What you really need to understand is that a smart city is not. You cannot build a smart city on a single technology. So whether it be fiber, which is what, of course, Spectrum is known for in the market, we support just about every single diverse protocol that's out there. It doesn't matter if it's coax or Wi-Fi or LTE, LoRa technology, which is really great for water metering. If it's built underground, it has a great way of being able to communicate. You need a diverse protocol network in order to deploy a smart city. You cannot deploy it on a single protocol alone. And that's really what we're finding when talking to our cities, is the strategy is to embrace all of the technology. Understand that the technology, the protocols that we're talking about, LTE and fiber and coax and Wi-Fi, those aren't being dictated by AT&T or Spectrum. Those are actually being dictated by the sensor providers, the people who are creating all of these sensors that are deployed throughout your city. Those are the vendors that are telling us, listen, we're communicating in this way, you have to be able to accept that. And so that's really what we're doing. We're working with our cities to let them know that it doesn't matter what sensors they deploy, regardless of what protocol it speaks, we can talk to it. So again, this is just identifying for you really what some of the other technologies are. I think actually one of the most fun technologies I'm hearing about is the lower left-hand corner, the LoRa technology, low power, wireless. Picture a water meter that's built underground that only needs to send a really small packet of information once a month back to the water department to let you know what kind of water you're using. That's a really great opportunity to be able to deploy a different type of technology, and the power and the battery life for those types of technologies are like 10 plus years. So you put it in the ground and you don't have to worry about it for 10 years versus some of the parking solutions that we're hearing about that, battery life is 1 to 3 years. Well, that doesn't do you much good because the maintenance for that becomes so large. So the different technologies for the different protocols that are being offered today. One of the things that I get asked all the time is, all of this smart city stuff sounds phenomenal, but where do I start? What can I learn from other cities like Portland, like San Diego, like Miami-Dade, like Columbus? What can I learn from those cities, and how do I implement anything, even if it's at a smaller scale, in my city? So really what we work with our city leaders to understand is you really need to start with a compelling business case. And we can help you with that based on the technologies and the art of the possible. We have those discussions a lot with people, really understanding, getting you familiar with the art of the possible. What kind of technologies are important to you? And let's think out of the box. We bring in your other departments. We work with your departments to understand what challenges they're having today, and how technology might be able to help them in their job, not get rid of their job. I think that that's an important differentiation. We want to make sure we're making your staff, your city leaders, your city resources more efficient. You need to run the effort as a portfolio. You can't necessarily say, I just need a parking solution, because a parking solution falls into maybe a camera solution because that's the best way to do parking, and then it goes into your traffic solution, and then you have to do your lights and Vision Zero, and then it just bundles as a very large thing. So don't look at point solutions to say, I just want to do one thing and then I'm going to be smart. Because smart cities and connected communities, all of that is a journey. You're never one and done. I know that's not great news for a lot of you, but it's the truth. And so really find yourself a partner that can really help you navigate this journey, providing the partners that you may be able to implement that have been tested on the network, that have proven to do what it is that they say they do, and then be able to embrace any successes that you have. One of the successes that the city of San Diego, since it was brought up previously, had was they brought their citizens into the success of all of the things that they were having. They had this huge block party that showed all of the different sensor technologies that they were going to have and why they were going to be successful and how they were going to help. Utilize that. We did hackathons. We do hackathons all the time with the higher education and entrepreneurs, getting them to understand and embrace the type of data that's being generated from these sensors. Really, first of all, the creativity is phenomenal that comes out of those. But again, it allows people who live, work, and play in the city to really take ownership and help you make this and drive these successes. So what Spectrum has looked at the smart city market is really from a top-down and a bottom-up approach. So everybody knows that we've got this really strong fiber network that's out there. However, our network also, as I've indicated, supports just about every other protocol. So really, it's really understanding where the network's deployed, how it can embrace other technologies that are out there, and how you can utilize those technologies. So that's the bottom-up approach, because you need a strong, resilient network in order to be able to deploy smart cities. But from the top down, we're actually bringing partners in these categories, the 4 categories: public safety, utilities, infrastructure, economic development, and intelligent transportation. We're bringing partners to you that have been tested on the network, that actually have been tested to do things that they say that they are going to do. So whether it be from any video type of surveillance, situational awareness, being able to send the right resources to the right place, smart lighting, waste management, which seems to be very, very strong today. Water management, we're hearing a lot about from our cities. Connected cars, autonomous vehicles, you need a strong network for that, as well as any open data and digital governance type of solutions where you can understand how to make efficiencies in the city. So we are bringing all the partners from the top part of the screen to your city, as well as bringing that really strong network, the sensors, the devices, and the analytics and visualization that go together to make a truly smart city. So sort of a one-stop shop. If you're already working with partners, if you're already working with some partners in any of these categories, that's okay. We can work with those as well. For those cities who haven't gotten started in the smart city space, the connected city space, we're offering this vast amount of sensor providers to be able to help start you on your smart city journey. So let's talk about where the smart cities has made the most sense. You know, a lot of times when I talk to cities, they want to understand what other people have done. You know, smart cities has been around for 10 or 15 years. It doesn't help if nobody has actually succeeded in doing some of this stuff. So let's just talk about some of the things that are going on right now. We had a city in the southeast that had a really big initiative to drive parks. They wanted their citizens to start using their parks. They needed to revitalize the parks. The parks were getting run down, and because they were getting run down, an element was starting to move into the parks that was creating the inability or the unwelcomeness for the citizens to use the parks. So using data, we were able to find out that the police department was being called by the citizens to go to these parks between the hours of 1 and 3 in the morning. We also found out that the Parks Department was watering their parks between 9 and 10 in the morning. We shifted the watering of the parks to 1 and 3 in the morning, and crime went down 80%. Simple, right? I mean, you would think, hey, the Parks Department and the Police Department work for the same city. Why did we have to bring in data to do that? Because when was the last time your police department and your parks director are having a conversation on that level? That's what data analytics can do for you. Simple solution to a problem, and it helped, and we're just growing that solution. So there's lots of things that you can do like that. Another situation we had was public safety, situational awareness. We had a city in upstate New York who was getting a lot of 911 calls. It was about 10 o'clock at night. They said the people calling into 911 said a bomb went off. Sounds horrible. They brought up, the public safety group brought up the video in that area. They found it wasn't a bomb, it was a gas main explosion. Still not great. Nobody got hurt. But they were able to send out the gas company rather than send out the bomb squad. That in and of itself, they told us, that saved them money, because every time they deploy something, they really need to pay for that resource. And they were able to proactively tell their citizens what the problem was. So they calmed everybody down. They were proactive in telling their citizens that it wasn't a bomb, it was a gas main explosion. Again, situational awareness, being able to do. This is just sensors that are deployed and how you're using the data that's being collected. So there's a lot of that going around right now, being just understanding, you know, whether it be timing of lights. We had a city that we were working with that their population and demographic in certain neighborhoods was changing, was aging, like we all are. And so what they needed to do is they needed to increase the timing of the signals. The only way that they were able to do that was by understanding, putting sensor technology at crosswalks in these areas to understand how quickly somebody could get across the street. And that is changing. It changes in different areas. And so they're using technology today to help prevent people from getting hit by cars because they can't seem to cross the crosswalk in a way that they were able to in their 20s. So different cities need different requirements. The goal of this is just to let you know the sky's the limit. Be creative. Talk to your partner. You know, Spectrum is certainly involved in a lot of cities in this room. Talk to your partner. Let them know what it is that you want to be able to do, because those things exist today. So really what to expect from a network partner in this whole smart and connected community space. Find someone who actually has a partner program that has partners that they can bring to you, that have tested them, that have optimized them. Don't think that you have to go that road alone. A portfolio of providers and solutions that you're interested in, whether it be transportation or parking or kiosks or video surveillance. Understand that we've got the partners that do that, but it's also important to know that there's analytics and data that go along with that, and we need to be able to provide you with an application that can ingest all of that data. And I know that there's people here in the exhibit hall that do that specifically, that are data, that ingest all of that data and can provide real-time analytics for you. Make sure that it's a broad infrastructure. It's not only about fiber, doing a camera, fiber is really, really good. Doing a water meter, fiber is not so good. So again, make sure it's a provider that you're working with that can actually do all of these diverse solutions. And don't be afraid to use that partner that you're using as a trusted advisor. Smart cities is a journey. It's a long journey, and you need somebody that has been around with you from the start and that's willing to stay with you, that's not fly by night, that's not going to come in and sell you a smart parking solution and then is going to be gone. Someone that's in your community today that is already providing services that you know you can rely on, whether it be today or in 2 years when you're ready to do that smart journey. So that's all I had. I thank you very much for your time.